I am probably one of the 17 or so fans of Age of Extinction Galvatron. Even though his design's pretty ugly, and his character literally went nowhere because he was Megatron again by the next movie, I still like him? I don't know, even though he only really had one memorable line in the movie, and he was pretty much a throwaway villain. Lockdown was the main villain. This guy was just kind of there. I've always been a fan. I've actually always been a fan as well of the original Age of Extinction Voyager class, which is a controversial opinion because he literally has the entire cab of the truck on his back. But when they announced the Studio Series one a little over a month ago, I was really excited for it. It had a November release date though, but I have it in early July. I have it. So that happened, and I'm not going to complain, even though I'm going to complain about how much it cost me with all this stuff coming all at once. Hey, awesome stuff. Really excited for this old versus new. I had to film it basically the same day I got this, because I'm just so excited to do this comparison. I'm also very excited to talk in depth about the Age of Extinction Galvatron figure, the original one from 2014. Because, man, even though it's not that good, I really like it. I really like it. So, first of all, one very nice and surprising thing is that they're about the same height. Oftentimes, Studio Series figures are smaller than their original counterparts, but looking here, they're pretty much eye to eye. The Studio Series is ever so slightly shorter, ever so slightly. But it's basically a non-issue. Like they're basically the same size, and I think that's really great. One thing I do have about the Studio Series, though, that I really don't like is the shade of plastic he's cast in. He's supposed to be all silver, right? I mean, obviously, the original one doesn't have any silver paint, but he's at least all bright gray, which kind of implies silver. But the Studio Series has splotches of silver paint, which, where he has silver paint, looks amazing. But he's cast in this very, very dark gray. And this contrast is just so jarring to me. If he was cast in this color with the silver highlights, he'd look amazing. But the dark gray does make him look pretty drab. It's not very accurate. I am pretty disappointed that he is cast in this dark color. But other than that, I mean, obviously I'm pretty sure one figure here is definitely superior to the other when it comes to many things. But man, something about this one, I love the color. I love the color. Sure, he's all gray, but I feel like the gray color actually is kind of nice. And I love all the splotches of color here and there. This one does have a few, but they're very faint. He's got a little bit on his arm, a little bit on his chest, and he has some on his head. The head is amazing on this new one. But I just feel like this one has a little bit more color going on, and I don't mind it. Man, I just really love this figure. Something about it. I just love the old one. But yeah, just standing them side by side, they're pretty similar. Obviously, one has the entire cab of the truck on their back, while the other actually, believe it or not, has a back. Look, you can see the hole. Because in the movie, the hole kind of like goes right through him. Obviously, it really can't on this toy, but still, he has that. That's so cool to me. And one interesting thing, too, he's hollow. He's hollow. So that's kind of fun. You can actually store the accessories inside. I think you can only really do like one at a time. The missile launcher will actually tab in and store in there, but I don't really think you can store it when you transform him. I don't know. You know me, I'm not really worried about weapon storage because I don't display them in vehicle mode. I transform it, enjoy the vehicle mode for maybe like 30 minutes, and then I transform it back in robot mode. But yeah, obviously one has a lot more complex of a transformation. You can see some elements of the truck on the legs there. It's pretty much inside out on the body. But here, it's all on his back. Literally, you can unfold this, and you have the cab of the truck just sitting on his back. Literally. Seriously, like that is just the cab of the truck. There you go. Boom. It's done. You can give him a bucket if you want. Ooh, you know what I should do? Can the new one ride in the bucket of the old one? That would be really cool. Can it happen? But can he stand, though? Oh, almost. There we go. He's a little hunched. He's got to be hunched. It's really weighing him down. But there we go. There we go, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. So yeah, that's a thing you can do. I don't recommend doing it though. But, yeah, that was the main issue that people had with this old one. And I can see why. I mean, it's really lazy. It's not very intuitive. But for me, I just think it's so cool how you get that whole cap and it just slides in and collapses in such a way. I just think it's so well done. Like, out of all of the whole cab on the back of the vehicle, or the back of the robot figures I've ever seen, this one just pulls it off the best. Like, that's not that bad. Now, yeah, it's obviously a backpack, but, I mean, for 2014, with the budget restrictions they had back then, I can see why it was kind of hard for them to engineer a toy of a character that literally transformed by turning into little tiny particles and then turning into the other shape. That's not easy. But man, I just love these. I love these both. So, looking at the old one in a little bit more detail. Like I said, I really like the color, but I also really like the sculpt. Something about the sculpt is just really nice. I just think he looks really cool. I just like him a lot. I think this robot mode's really well done. I do think the robot mode, if it would be painted nicer, would actually look better than the Studio Series. But then again, the Studio Series doesn't cheat with the transformation. So, yeah. There is definitely some cheating going on here. That's why the robot mode looks so great, is because the vehicle is just on his back. There is basically no transformation to this. He folds up and goes into the big cab. He does have one weapon. I do have the missile kind of stuck out a bit, so I just don't display him with it. It's cool looking, though. It's too long for the movie. It just came out of his hand in the movie. This is a little too long, but I always thought that looked really cool. Actually, it does kind of remind me a little bit of his actual G1 alt mode. So yeah, that's a cool accessory. Wish I had more paint, though. I believe the Takara version did. But yeah, I mean, not a bad robot. He's got ball joint at the head. Really loved his shoulders, because he has shoulder pads. You can move the shoulders, biceps. I mean, he's got all the articulation, man. His legs were a little limited and awkward because his hips are at a Y-axis instead of a normal, like, T-axis. And he also has the tiniest little thighs and the biggest shins, so that was also awkward. But he actually has, like, forward and back and ankle tilt. This is a very posable figure. It's a little awkward to pose, but it's very posable. Nothing at the waist, unfortunately. But yeah, man, this old Galvatron. It's a very controversial opinion. I do plan on making a video of, like, top 10 Transformers I love that everyone else hates. This is actually on that list. I love this figure. I love it. I do. But I also love this new one a lot. So looking at his details, like I said, that head sculpt is beautiful. I love the red eyes and the little hints of color here and there. That is so accurate to the movie. The chest looks really nice. I love that. I do believe you could probably, like, stick an Optimus sword in there too. I mean, it's hollow. Got some space to do that. The arms look really cool, and I do like how they did the weapon this time around, since it is actually just a part of his hand. And you do have the missile launcher too, which is a nice add-on. He does have a waist, which is cool. And he definitely has bigger thighs this time around, as well as bigger shins. And honestly, I feel like for containing a lot of the alt mode, they don't feel that chunky. Because the original Studio Series Movie 1 Megatron had huge chunky shins because that's where the wings went. But here, I feel like the shins are pretty decently sized. And I feel like the torso, too. The only real kibble he has, the only real vehicle mode parts are these little bits sticking up here. That's not even that big of a deal. I actually think they add to the look. I think they add even more to the look if you untransform him a little bit, splay him out ever so slightly, then have them, like, a little more out. I think they actually add to the silhouette if you have it like that. That's actually how I keep him most of the time. I just think it adds to the shape. It almost gives him like these shoulder blades. Oh, that is so cool. I prefer him to be cast in a brighter color. I just feel like the contrast with the silver and the dark, it's just a little too much. And this gray is just a little too drab for me. I feel like if he was either mostly silver or at least cast in a brighter silver plastic or brighter gray plastic, he would look a lot better. His articulation, though, he's got a ball joint at the head. He has universal joints at the shoulders, which are a little limiting. Even if you do have that more properly attached, you do have this panel right here where the shoulder gets in the way and you can't really move his arms out like that. So it is a bit of a problem. He's got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. His arms are very similar. It's funny. They're very similar to the original. He does have waist this time around. The hip range is insane. That's insane, man. It moves so far. He does have a little bit of a thigh swivel, very nice knee bend, and his ankles, I'm kind of disappointed. You only get just like a little forward and back, that's mostly for transformation, and you get some nice tilt, but I miss the forward and back that you got on the old one. Still though, I do think this is a superior figure when it comes to the engineering and the transformation and all that, even though I do feel like it does have one pretty big issue in the alt mode. So, speaking of the alt modes, let's transform him. So, the original Galvatron, my guilty pleasure figure. So, take that gun out. This transformation is so easy, yet so fun. I just don't know why, man. It's just so satisfying. Out of all the shell formers I've ever had, it's just so satisfying, man. I love it. I don't know why. I just love it. So basically, that's almost all you do with the robot. Then the rest is just dealing with all the truck parts. So obviously you make this, and then you basically fold all of this up into that. Like you just hinge this back. It's ridiculous, man. Oh, the head goes in first. Forgot. Gotta flip the head back. Come on. Or does it? No, I think it flips back, right? Yeah, there we go. Flip the head back. This is so ridiculous, but I love it. I just do. So basically, his torso has been compressed, and you just cover it all up with the cab. All of it. Then those legs, basically just take these panels, close it up. And honestly, what I think you're left with is a much better looking truck than we're going to see with the Studio Series. Because the truck is just on his back, you are definitely left with a very solid looking vehicle. You do have a little bit of leg showing, but he does actually have a hitch. He does have a little hitch detail right there. And I do feel like that looks more accurate than some other things that we're going to see. But yeah, I love the silver paint. I love the black. Unfortunately, mine does have a little bit of blue scuff right there. Used to be more solid, but it just scuffed because of the transformation. You can stick this, but that's ridiculous. You know, it's who's gonna do that? But yeah, really solid, really quick. How does it roll? It rolls decently, not bad. Not looking forward to this because if you know me, Studio Series figures are a bit of a pain to transform. I've already transformed it. I've already prepared myself for this. But keep in mind, I view Transformers as a puzzle more so than like, oh, the transformation is merely the process to get from one mode to another. No, it's a puzzle for me. Transformers are a puzzle, and that's what I love about them. You know, the figuring out process. Because it's not easy to figure these out. It's not. And I feel like for those who do, especially kids that can figure out Transformers, man, some of them are way smarter than I would ever hope to be. It's pretty cool, actually. But yeah, he does kind of fold up similarly, and you can start to see the cab forming up front. But the legs, man, the legs are where it gets a little interesting. So one thing I really love are how the wheels here flip out of the thigh. I think it's a really cool idea and method. But before we do that, we need to deal with this, because this is not fun. Basically, you have these panels, untab these, and then this like hinges up, and around to form the side of the truck, which is really clever. It's really clever. You can see it'll just kind of go in like that. But there is a thing. His feet. His feet are a problem. They are just not well thought out, not well done, because they're a little obvious. They're going to be a little obvious in the truck mode, unfortunately. It's pretty disappointing. I wish they would have been able to figure something better out. But you know what? It's a giant robot toy at the end of the day. I'm not going to be like, oh man, this is the worst figure ever. I can't believe Hasbro's done this. This is awful. They seriously need to, like, go to hell because this is the worst thing ever. Dude, we're buying toys over here. Calm down. We're buying toys, man. Ah, geez. I love when I see videos nowadays of people ranting and raving like, man, Hasbro's really blah, blah, blah. I've kind of done it, though. I've kind of done it, so I can't really complain. It's mostly when, like, people nitpick a toy because of its toyness. That's what really bugs me. If people nitpick Hasbro because of their bad business practices, that's different. But if you're making a video on the internet saying that a toy is bad because it's a toy, I have news for you, buddy. It's a toy. You know, kind of get over yourself. But we're making progress. We're making some good progress. And that flips. And then that clips. And I just rhymed. That's amazing. That flips and that clips. And then we flippy this. We clippy that. Almost got it, I think. Almost there. Almost there. It's just a little... It's just struggling a little bit. Come on. We were in before, weren't we in now? That'd help if that was ever so slightly. There we go. Man, if it's just one thing, one little thing not lined up, then nothing wants to line up. That is the issue with modern Transformers. If it's just one little thing, that's what the issue always is. Like, what's going on now? Is it the hands? I think it's the hands. I think they're just I think it's the double hinge on the elbows. Maybe if I push them down a little bit. Oh, come on. Almost. There we go. Now the sides have come undone. There we go. We got it. We got there, guys. We got there. Almost. Pretty much. Close enough. How about that? Close enough. One thing, too, I've noticed if you push on the front, because that's a double hinge, it wants to, like, cave in. So that's also not fun. Close enough, little seam there, don't really care. It's just something about the arms that are being irritating. But yeah, there we go. Here's the Studio Series in its truck mode. And, in my opinion, vastly inferior. I mean, it is smaller, which I don't really mind. But the main issue... What's that? What's that? What's that? Huh? Huh? Man, I feel like they could have done something a little different. Maybe just a little different. I don't know. I mean, it's a toy. I don't really care. But yeah, it's a little eh. It's a little gross. Maybe if it just flipped just a little bit more and was like closer to that. Yeah, it's kind of bad. But still, I think the transformation's nice. I can commend them. I can commend the effort. But definitely for me, the old one takes the cake. One thing too, that little bit of silver isn't painted, so the stripe kind of gets broken up right there. That's a shame, a crying shame. There, I cried. So yeah, old versus new on Galvatron. It's cool. It's cool. I definitely prefer the new one as a figure. I think it's a lot better. But I think the old one definitely has some stuff. I do believe. Isn't this supposed to like clip on? Yeah, there we go. Because like the missile launcher pops out of the truck mostly. Yeah, there we go. You got a little spot for the missile launcher. That's cool. But yeah, Galvatron. I love Galvatron. Age of Extinction Galvatron, man. I've got a soft spot for him. Should I have a soft spot for him? Probably not, because he's a pretty crappy character. But still, I actually love both these toys. Thank you for asking. And with that, there we go. Old versus new on Age of Extinction Galvatron. Definitely get the new one if you're going to get one over the other. But honestly, I personally like the old one a lot. I mean, most people don't, but something about it. I like it. It's solid. It's well built. It's simple, but it's effective. I like it. Alrighty, guys. There we go. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to the patrons of Patreon. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Alrighty, guys. There we go. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.